Welcome back to Guangzhou Museum. My camera ran out of battery in the last video, so I'm gonna start in the history and cultural part. I'm here at the beginning, the entrance of the history and culture. I don't know what they put in the fourth floor. Usually you put the history and culture in the first floor so the guests will understand. But anyways. This thing reminds me of like Archaeology 130, 131. I don't know which we just took. I just took it's for fun, and I don't remember any of this stuff. I mean, it's been a month, so you can't expect me to remember all this bifacial tools and whatnot. So talking about the ancient people. Over here I'm clay making, and here is a portrait of how the Han people met with the indigenous population, and they all become friends and hold hands and dance together. Yeah, at least that's what the story told. Anyways, but we all know what happens when two culture clash against one another. Usually holding hands and singing doesn't happen. So I'm gonna try to run through this because there's quite a bit of things to see here. Also, there is also a geology and like natural resource site, but I'm not a geologist and nor a biologist, so I kind of interests me, but I'm not gonna do a film on it. It will end up getting really boring. So these are like metal fishing gear, metal hunting tools, and that they've dug up. So I think a archaeologist would be really excited to see all this. I'm more interested in the cultural aspect, which that comes up later. So this is a feature on all the bones and the remains and the shells of indigenous species that are eaten by they aren't the Guangzhou people now, they are the prehistoric populations. These are potteries, more potteries. We just love to see potteries, right? Here are mold of pastry molds. One thing I love to read is the translation on these, because I work as a translator, so kind of interests me to see how they translate, and I can learn a lot from what they do. So here is a typical wedding dinner at a Guangzhou. So in the center there is that's what a melon stew should look like, not the fake stuff we saw yesterday. So that's an actual melon stew. We're gonna keep going. Quite a bit of things to see here. So a typical Guangzhou traditional household. You have the two chairs for the two elders, so the grandfather and the grandmother, and the side chairs for the other family members, such as the mother and the father and the uncle and the aunt. And normally the kids will be right here in front of them and kneel and say some nice things to get pocket money, you know, the red pockets. Let's keep going. Here are the dragon boats. These dragon boats are huge. Like, huge. It's gotta be like, I don't know, 100 people? 50 people inside of these. It's about 2-3 times the length of dragon boats I see in Taiwan. We have dragon boat races in Taiwan as well, but nothing ever this big. That is amazingly huge. So I apologize if these videos are shaky because I'm walking. So now, we can see some detailed depiction of our their daily lives. This is frying some pastry. It's called frying rice ball, but it's pastry, New Year's, and these are chickens, or chicken puppets made of paper and straw, and singing songs about dragon boats. And so what happens in traditional culture. This is a depiction of a mother forcing this kid to drink the medicine. Cantonese are known for their traditional medicine. Chinese traditional medicines are very prevalent in Cantonese culture. You can see them all over the place. And when I was a kid, my mother would make me drink all sorts of medicine as well. So this is I would like to call this an ancient ice cream truck. So this person has made a big chicken puppet that he walked in. You can see his leg coming out, and he sells candy out of these giant chicken suits. So, and he also plays a trumpet, so kids will follow him. It's very interesting and traditional, like a chicken ice cream truck. This is smoked meat. Yeah, I see the kids holding smoked meat. Dried smoked meat is also a big part of Cantonese culture. And also steamed rice. You can see pots with steamed rice with stuffing on top. Also boat food. So Cantonese have a very boat-oriented culture as well. They are very akin to water, kind of like Venice. So these are vendors that sells food out of a boat. So in traditional Cantonese culture, the parents will wrap books on the belly of the kids, hoping that they will absorb the knowledge, which is kind of interesting. Also making sandal. Making sandals, and over here is a traditional facial makeup kind of thing. They use 2 strings to get rid of the oil and grease on your face by scraping you of all sorts of dirt on your face. Here is a traditional medicine shop, tea shop, and in Guangzhou. Let me zoom out a bit. So traditional tea shop, and this is a traditional housing of Guangzhou people. Also clothing and potteries. I'm just gonna speed through this because clothing and potteries are not very fun. So you also have, each one of these are something you'll do in the traditional life. So here is a pregnant lady for ceremony of prayer of safe birth. Yeah, I was trying to find a proper translation, but it's already done. Ceremony of resuming a meat diet. Ceremony of a 1-month-old and ceremony of a 4-month-old. So this Cantonese people are very ceremonial oriented and traditional ancestral worshipping oriented. So they have a lot of ceremony for different events of a person's life, different events of the year, and I could tell it's a lot more ceremonial based than any other, at least any other Chinese culture I've encountered, at least in my travel anyways. So very much. I'm gonna keep moving on. Here we have a exhibition about the Hakka people. Hakka people are very interesting people. They are like the gypsies of China. They are called Hakka, meaning guest. They call themselves the guest because they keep moving on to places. They moved all over China, even into Taiwan. And so in Taiwan we have Hakka as well. So they are all over the place. They just, I don't know, they just can't stay in one place. I don't know why. So they are also very talented craftsmen and farmers. So they move on to places. See, they farm. Here is a picture of a Hakka farm. I'm gonna move over here. Here you have some tools for tofu making. So you'll grind up the soybeans in this, and oh no, this is the wind cart that you blow. You use the wind to blow out the hollow grains of hollow soybeans, the bad ones. Then you use this, and you use this to grind. And here's the grindstone that grinds out the final product. So I'm gonna move on over here to the next section of the show. I'm only gonna do 15 minutes, so when the time runs out, I'm gonna turn it off. Cantonese people are very well known for their seafaring and migration. They don't stay in Canton province for too long. They are very well traveled. They travel all over the world and trade. See, these are their typical trades items. They sell China. That's the word. The word China comes from the word China, or the plate China comes from that. So these are also things that they would sell. Teas and tea accessories. Major importer or major exporter of tea is China, and they major buyer of tea is Europe, the European Empire, mostly British. So, did I just hear Star Wars music somewhere? Anyways, here are also items that they brought back. They brought back giraffe from Africa and all sorts of rhino horns and tusks. So also they brought back Buddhism from India. It's not a coincidence that Cantonese is one of the most spoken Asian language out there in the Western world. It's because these are missionaries, Western missionaries. It's because Cantonese people are so well traveled that most Chinese people you will see are Cantonese. And most people in the Chinatown are Cantonese. They're just very, very incredibly well traveled. So what you would consider Chinese food in the Western world that you buy in Chinatown are actually just Cantonese food. So Westerners often get it mixed up, but Cantonese is actually just part of Chinese. I think my time's almost up. There are a lot more to see in this museum. I'm just gonna turn it off here, and the rest of it is about Qing Dynasty's exports, imports, and contact with the Western world. So you can see items from the Western world, clocks, whatnot from the Western world. I'm walking very fast. More items from the Western world. This is a mixture of Western and Chinese craftsmanship. And here you have some very, very fancily carved items. And I'm just gonna turn it off here.